Hi there. I just wanted to thank the from asking those two good questions, and I learned a lot from Sundim's response. So thank you very much for that. My question is about times in the past when I have done either thoughtless or unkind things to other people, and my self-image is one that I feel like I'm a good person, and yet these memories that I have of these times when I have made these mistakes in the past challenge that notion, and so I still feel sometimes ashamed or angry with myself for some of those actions that I did, sometimes even years ago. And I was wondering if you have some advice on how to let go of those negative thoughts and negative emotions.
생각과 이런 것, 행동들에 대한 생각을 어떻게 떨쳐버릴 수 있을까요?
과거나 지금이나 똑같습니다.
Past and present, they're the same.
과거는 잘못했고 지금은 잘한 게 아니에요.
It's not that you were bad in the past and you're good now.
과거는 어떤 잘못이 있었느냐?
So what did you do wrong in the past?
내가 현실에 있는 나보다 내가 좀 잘났다 생각을 한 거예요.
Actually, what you thought in the past is that you thought you were better than who you really were.
그러니까 다른 사람에게 좀 함부로 했다.
And that caused you to be perhaps rude or hurtful to the other person.
그러면 지금은 잘났다는 생각을 버렸느냐?
Then today, does that mean you kind of gave up that notion of you being good?
아니다.
No.
그래서 제가 같다는 거예요.
That's why I'm saying the past you and today's you are the same.
왜 지금 반성하는데 아니라고 할까?
Then you might be asking, well, I'm actually atoning or repenting over my past behavior, so why are you saying that I'm the same?
현실의 나는 잘못할
present
수가
me.
있는 사람이다. 현실의 나는 잘못할 수가 있는 평범한 사람입니다.
The person that I am here today is somebody who's regular, ordinary, that can make mistakes.
근데 자기는 지금 너무 잘난 사람이라서 잘못할 수가 없다 이렇게 생각하는 거예요.
But you're thinking that you are an extraordinary person who could no longer do bad.
그런데 내가 잘못했다 이거야.
But then again, you did bad.
그러니까 그 잘못한 게 부끄러워서 도저히 내가 지금 창피하다 이거야.
And you're saying the fact that you made a mistake and did bad is so ashamed that you can't let go of it.
그때 실수한 게 후회스럽다 이거야.
And you're regretting over what you did before.
그래서 지금 이렇게 고민이 되는 거예요.
And you are conflicted over this.
그러니까 아직도 자기가 잘난 사람이라는 거를 지금 움켜쥐고 있다.
What I'm saying, you're still holding on to the fact that you consider yourself as a good person.
이해가 되셨나요? 이게
I'm not sure whether you understood what I'm trying to say.
It seems like you're talking about ego, about how my ego is getting in the way and not allowing me to think of that as part of my current behavior, who I am now.
제 현재 상태와 제가 누군지 이런 걸 제대로 아는데 방해가 된다는 말씀이신가요? 제 상황이?
불교 공부를 하신 분이네요.
So you must have studied Buddhism a little.
그런 불교 공부가 지금 이 문제 해결에 큰 장애가 되고 있습니다.
And the fact that you study Buddhism is a huge obstacle to you understanding and resolving this issue.
그냥 현실에서 그냥 직시해야지 그런 어떤 배운 걸 가지고 지금 대화를 하면 안 됩니다.
So do not try to engage in the conversation based on some knowledge you have gleaned from previous studies, but try to look at the situation directly.
네, 다시 시작하겠습니다.
So let's begin again.
이 실제 있는 나를 보면 나라는 사람은 잘못할 수가 있는 사람이에요.
If you look at the you that's here in reality, you are somebody who can make mistakes.
또 어떤 것을 틀릴 수도 있는 거예요.
Then you can get things wrong.
또 모를 수도 있는 거예요.
Then you might not know certain things.
모르면 물어서 알면 돼요.
If you don't know something, you can ask.
틀렸으면 고치면 돼요.
If you made a mistake, got something wrong, you can correct.
잘못했으면 죄송합니다 하고 참여하면 돼요.
If you made a mistake, you can apologize.
이것은 아무 문제가 안 됩니다.
So this is not a problem.
근데 자신에 대해서 자기가 어떤 잘못된 생각을 가지고 있다.
But what I'm saying that you have a different and wrong idea about yourself.
나는 다 안다.
You have a sense of self-exceptionalism in which you consider yourself all-knowing.
나는 틀릴 수가 없다.
I cannot make a mistake.
나는 잘못할 수가 없다.
I cannot do wrong.
이런 생각을 사람들은 자기도 모르게 하고 있다.
Because we all hold this subconscious kind of sense of ourselves in which we consider ourselves exceptional.
그러니까 하나하나 따지면 잘못할 수 있지만은 그냥 막연히 자기가 생각할 때는 내가 하는 일은 다 옳다 이런 생각을 하고 우리는 다 살아간다.
If you look at different behaviors, we can get this wrong. But we have this kind of ephemeral yet all-binding idea that we're not allowed to make mistakes because we're perfect, we're exceptional.
옛날에 자기가 불친절했거나 화를 냈거나 고집을 했을 때 자기가 나빠서가 아니라 자기는 옳다 이런 생각을 했기 때문에 그냥 한 행동인데 다른 사람한테 많은 상처를 주게 된 거예요.
So when in the past, you were stubborn or you insist on getting your own way, you said it, you did that not because you're a bad person, because you were kind of caught up in this self-image yourself, and that happened to cause hurt to others.
근데 이제 조금 나이가 들어서 지나놓고 보니까 내가 조금 건방졌구나, 내가 잘난 척했구나 이걸 알게 됐다 이거예요.
But now that time has passed, you have aged a little. Now you look back, you realize, maybe I wasn't humble enough. Maybe I was too arrogant.
그러면 이제 앞으로 그렇게 안 하면 된다 이거예요.
Then all I'm saying is that, okay, then stop doing it. That's all.
옛날 경험을 생각해서 이렇게 말을 할 때나 행동할 때 항상 좀 주의를 해야 되겠다. 그런 반복을 하지 않아야 되겠다. 또 실수를 하면 금방 이렇게 고쳐야 되겠다. 이렇게 관점을 가져야 된다.
And then realize, looking back at the mistakes you made in the past, use that as lessons learned so you don't do them again, or you self-correct if you do them again.
근데 옛날에 잘못한 게 그게 계속 부끄럽다 이거야.
But you're saying you're still ashamed and embarrassed by what you did in the past.
그때 생각하면 좀 창피하다 이거야.
And you're kind of ashamed, and it's cringeworthy when you think back to what you did.
이거는 아직도 잘났다는 생각을 못 버렸기 때문에 그렇다.
And that's because you're still holding on to this sense of self-exceptionalism.
잘났다는 생각이 있기 때문에 이 잘난 내가 어떻게 그런 바보 같은 짓을 했을까? 이게 지금 자기가 용서가 안 되는 거예요.
And you can't forgive yourself because you're holding on to that sense of self-exceptionalism and telling yourself, how can this person who's so exceptional have made a mistake like this in the past?
그래서 지금 자기가 그게 자꾸 신경 쓰인다.
And that's why you're kind of holding on to that.
다시 말하면 그 잘났다는 생각이 옛날에는 남을 괴롭히고 지금은 자기를 괴롭힌다.
So this sense of self-exceptionalism hurt others in the past, but today it won't allow you to forgive yourself and it's causing hurt to yourself.
그러니까 그런 생각 속에 자기에 사로잡히지 말고 현실의 자기를 봐라.
So do not get caught up in this, what you think, in the self-image of you as an exceptional person. Look at yourself as you are today.
우리는 다 부족하다.
Because we are all people that's lacking.
나도 부족하고 다른 사람도 부족하다.
We're all imperfect. I'm imperfect. You're imperfect.
내가 부족하니까 겸손해야 한다.
Because we are imperfect, we need to be humble.
다른 사람들도 부족하니까 좀 잘 봐줘야 된다 이거야.
And since others are also imperfect, let us have compassion for them.
그 잘못된 걸 갖고 너무 이렇게 따지면 안 된다 이거야.
And do not try to berate them over every mistake they make.
그리고 과거의 잘못에 대해서 그 사람이 네 옛날에 나를 괴롭혔잖아 이러면 아이고 죄송합니다. 그때 제가 뭘 모르고 어리석어 가지고 그런 실수를 했습니다 하고 사과를 해야 된다.
And if somebody from the past who was hurt by you comes back and demands some kind of apology, then apologize and say, you know what, I didn't know better at that time.
근데 지금 자기가 그걸 부끄러워하는 거는 지금의 자기도 괴롭히고 또 그 사람들한테도 아무 도움이 안 된다.
But the fact that you're still ashamed of what you did in the past is causing hurt to you, and it's not helping that person.
그러니까 이제 거기로부터 자기가 내가 부족하다 하는 걸 알면 지금 그 어떤 부끄러움으로부터 자유로워질 수가 있다.
And if you realize that you are imperfect, then you can finally free yourself from that sense of shame.
이게 뭐 자아가 있느니 없느니 이 문제하고 아무 관계가 없습니다.
And this has nothing to do whether your ego exists or not.
영혼이 있나 없나 자아가 있나 없나 이런 건 놔놓고 현실을 직시해라는 거예요.
You know, the debate about the soul, about the ego, illusions, all that has nothing to do. This problem can only be solved by looking and incisively into your own situation now.
신이 있느냐 없느냐, 천국이 있느냐 없느냐, 윤회를 하느냐 안 하느냐 이런 것은 다 믿음의 문제고 관념의 문제다.
Whether there's heaven or not, whether it's God or not, whether reincarnation is real or not, all these are issues of belief, faith, and abstract. Has nothing to do with the problem here now.
그것은 개인들에게 자기 좋을 대로 하라고 맡겨야 합니다.
And let matters of faith be up to individual choices.
네, 부처님의 가르침은 지금을 직시하는 겁니다.
So Buddha's teaching is about being insightful to the now.
질문자는 과거 때문에 괴로워해도 안 되고 지금 때문에 괴로워해도 안 되고 미래 때문에 괴로워해도 안 된다.
Lee, for you, you should not be hurt. You should not suffer because of what happened in the past. You should not suffer because what's happening now, and you should not suffer because of what may happen in the future.
과거에 잘못한 게 있다면 지금 그런 실수를 반복하지 않는 교훈으로 삼아야 한다.
If you did something wrong in the past, then let that be lessons learned, so you don't repeat the same mistake in the future.
그것은 현재와 미래에 나에게 큰 도움이 된다.
And what you did in the past has become a great scaffolding for you to become a better person.
네, 더 질문 있으면 하세요.
If you have any follow-up questions, responses, please go ahead.
I don't want to go too long, but I do have a follow-up question if that's okay.
질문이 하나 있긴 한데요.
네,
Please.
So, some of these behaviors that I am talking about are things that, I've been doing all my whole life for decades. These cogitating on these issues, and it's very wonderful to hear you say things like "forgive yourself" or
내 스스로를 용서해
"stop thinking in that way."
그렇게
but,
생각하지 마라 이런 참 좋은데요.
So philosophically, I understand where you're coming from, but what would be helpful for me would be, do you have some specific
저한테
actions or tools that I could take that are more specific rather than the kind of general ideas of forgive yourself or start thinking differently?
뭐가 문제예요? 문제를 한번 내놔봐요.
Okay, for that, I want you to articulate your problem.
Articulate my problem.
구체적으로요, 제 문제.
So very specifically, I will remember someone that I knew years ago, perhaps, and I will start having thoughts of
생각이
happy
나는데
thoughts that times that I shared with this person, and then my mind will drift to a point where I start remembering this unkind thing that I did and how it damaged that relationship, or
이제
uh,
불친절하게 대했던
에-
일들이 막 생각이 나고
it made some kind of change, and so then I get angry at myself.
제
So
스스로
that's
화가
an example. Do you want more detail?
더 구체적으로 알려드릴까요?
아니, 됐습니다.
I think that's good.
그건 과거를 생각할 때 이 머릿속에서 과거의 일이 지금처럼 이렇게 인식되기 때문에 일어나는 현상이에요.
So this is happening because as you're thinking about the past, it's actually you're reliving that experience as if it's happening now.
그래서 그럴 때는 딴 생각을 하는 거예요. 지금 생각을 하는 거예요.
And you're thinking in that case, then you shift and think about what's happening now.
그러니까 옛날 비디오를 틀어서 화면에서 사람이 죽거나 헤어지는 걸 보고 눈물이 날 때 어떻게 눈물을 흘리지 않습니까? 그냥 화면을 꺼버리면 돼요.
So, for example, as an analogy, say you have a movie on that's really sad, and you're really into this movie, and you're crying because of something that's sad that's happening in the movie, and you want to stop crying. Then what should you do at that time? Just turn off the TV.
그럼 아무것도 없어요.
Then there's nothing there.
조금 있으면 눈물이 다 다 진정이 됩니다.
And with the picture stop, video stop, then all of a sudden you're calm again.
그러니까 질문자는 정신적으로 자꾸 이렇게 과거를 자꾸 이렇게 돌이켜 생각하는 그런 일종의 습관이 있습니다.
So basically, you're suffering from this habit of looking at the past as if it's happening right now.
현재에 살고 있지만은 늘 머릿속에는 과거 생각이 자꾸 떠오르고 그것 때문에 현재가 장애를 받는 거예요.
So you're living in the present. However, you're kind of also living in the past, constantly in the past, and that's causing issues in the present.
그래서 명상을 하면서 호흡에 껴있게 지금 숨이 들어가고 나가는데 껴있게 이걸 자꾸 연습을 하면 좀 도움이 됩니다.
And this can be helped by you practicing in breathing meditation in which you practice being awake to just the breath that's happening in the here and now.
과거로 생각이 끌려갈 때마다 다시 코끝으로 호흡으로 돌아오고 끌려갈 때마다 또 호흡으로 돌아오고 이렇게 자꾸 연습을 하면 우리가 현재 이렇게 있으면서 자꾸 생각이 과거로 돌아가는 것을 조금 막을 수 있습니다.
Whenever you feel yourself chasing after the past memories, yank yourself back to the breath here and now. And whenever you feel yourself chasing after that memory again, just yank yourself back and practice that.
어쩌면 그 사람을 만나서 내가 불친절했던 거를 사과를 하면 그 사람은 기억도 못할 수도 있습니다.
In a way, if you actually went back to that person and you apologize for the hurtful things, for hurtful incident that happened, that person might not even remember.
그러면 자기 혼자 괴로워하는 거 아니에요?
If that's the case, then you are actually just suffering alone yourself,
환상을 보고
looking at an illusion.
밤에 꿈을 꾸다가 뭐 남을 때렸다. 그걸 깨가지고도 계속 지금 어제 내가 밤에 사람을 때렸다. 미안하다. 이런 사람하고 같습니다.
It's almost like you're dreaming, and inside your dream, you punch the other person, you cause great injury, and you wake up, and you're still kind of apologetic and sorry about what happened in your dream.
You've given me a lot to think about, and I really appreciate this. I look forward to taking these tools you've given me and putting them into use. And so I'll give you an update later on of how things go. Thank you very much.
또 생각할 많은 것을 줬다. 이렇게 하는데 이게 질문자의 병입니다. 생각하지 말고 그냥 행하라.
You say that I've given you a lot of tools to think about, and that's your problem right there. Do not think, just do it.
네. 그러면 청중 중에서 또 새로운 질문을 하면 시간이 너무 길어지니까 소감을 한번 얘기해 보세요. 오늘 세 분의 대화를 들으면서 자기가 어떤 걸 배우고 느꼈다, 어떤 건 부족하다, 이렇게 자기 소감을 얘기해 보실 분 있으면 얘기해 보시기 바랍니다.
So we don't have time for another question from the audience that's attending here today, but I'd like to invite you to kind of share a comment, if you like, about the questions, the answers, and the conversation you heard tonight.
Hi, I've been with Jungto Society for a while, and I'm really glad that we could have this discussion because I feel like in general society, it's very hard to talk or discuss these kind of difficult things out in public. So really grateful, and also grateful that it can be done amongst American people. Sometimes when I try to do a Jungto meeting with some of my friends, they come in and they leave. They say Jungto is too serious and they don't want to live seriously. But I appreciate being able to have a place where people can talk about serious things. And I appreciate the questioners for bringing up sort of like a very serious topics, because those are the things that sort of we all need to, we can't just shove it off to the side. I think eventually it does need to be expressed to find the best solution.
Sunim, thank you very much. This is so beautiful. It's the first time I can be so grateful to you. You practically changed my mind, and all these questionnaires today, these questions are so beautifully answered by you. And in the case of it was like I was really living the same experience, and the way that you answered to Leland, it helped me so much at the same time. So I'm always grateful for your guidance. Thank you very much, Sunim.
감사합니다.
Thank you.